Welcome back to a new season and our first episode of it. We have a lot of back office work to do. Now please bear with Jonathan and I as we prepare our team, we build excitement and anticipation for the season ahead, and we just work through some of the necessary things that will need to be done to prepare the team for the season. We had managed to get our scouts out before the end of last season to go and see what options were available. Now this is quite tasty. There are 3 free agents. One who I recognize, Oriol Busquets, is I believe a player who used to be at Barcelona. So why he's on the free agent market, I don't know. I know he is a good player if he's playing for Barcelona. So it looks like, as we look at our CDM role, we have 3 players we don't need to fork out a lot of money for just to bring into the club, and if they don't turn out to be any good, well, we'll send them out on loan or we'll sack them at the end of the season. So let's go ahead and see what we can get out for our CDMs. Similarly, for the CAM role, we have 2 free agents, Jack Rolls and Florian Chabrole. So those free agents save us a whole bunch of money, and again, as I mentioned, we know this one has been scouted. He's at least 65, which is equal to Powers, equal to Paulette. So that's not going to hurt. He's also 23, and if he's obviously being pulled under first team quality and promising, he must have a decent potential. So it looks like our options for CAM are also covered off from free agents, which helps us to make a really smart decision about the future of our club. Namely, we are going to invest all of our money that's remaining into our youth academy. That does mean though that we will sack Dunbar and Mackie, and we will hire a new scout who will bring in maybe 5-star players into our team from Scotland. That way then they're all homegrown, and we can continue in the great Dundee United tradition of injecting awesome players into the world of football. Okay, Jonathan's only just gotten out of his office and he's shown me the sheet. Here it is in front of us. He has been able to make 4 acquisitions without digging too deep into the purse strings of our transfer budget, only spending this on wages and bonuses. There are 4 players that we've brought into the team, all free agents, which has saved us a bunch of money. So let's go through and see what that means for the club. The first one is Oriol Busquets. He's 69 overall, he's 22 years of age, we've signed him for a 4-year contract for $3,300. He's worth $2.7 million, yet we got him for nothing. I don't know what Barcelona were thinking. We have an absolute steal here. He plays CDM, so he's going to slot in beautifully with Fuchs and Makiki, and he also has the versatility of being able to play at centre back, which is excellent when we have troubles with Edwards or Cardoso, any other of our backs. The next acquisition was Jack Rolls from Cyprus. He's 22 years old. He also plays CAM in central midfield. He's worth $1.4 million. We paid nothing. He's 65 overall. We're paying him $3,000 in wages for a 4-year contract. Now he's a CAM, which means he will play very nicely in amongst the group that we have. We have Spraule, we have Paulette on the other wing, we have Harks and Powers. Now all of them are starting to get up in years. However, this guy's only 22, so he's going to start to slot in nicely with this midfield group, and of course excellent depth, and he's got potential. That's the other thing. Moving on, we have Florian Chabrole. He is 65 overall, 23-year-old from France. He plays CAM and right wing, and he's worth $1.3 million, and we're paying him $2,000 in wages for 4 years. What a steal. What an absolute wonderful player. Jonathan's done an amazing job, and as you can see, adding him also into that group of players means we have plenty of depth and strength to really look. If you think about it, we couldn't compete in the cup this season. We just didn't have the depth. Now we're going to start to see that depth in our midfield, which is really important. Finally, we have Jordi Alcavar. He's from Ecuador, he's 22-year-old, and he's 68 overall. So he, again, joins that midfield group with great strength. He's worth 2.3 million, and we're paying him $3,000 a week. Some of these players may not work out. They may be upset. They may not turn out to be good for our team, and we'll sell them if that's the case. We'll make our money elsewhere. But as you can see, Jonathan has done an excellent job in bolstering this squad ready for our new season. So as we discussed, our focus now is to really bring youth in from the youth academy. That means we're going to do our very best to get the best possible scout, and that looks like it's going to be Maggie from Estonia. 4-star experience, 5-star judgment. Let's do it. That's 3 million out of the bank, and that means we can sack Dunbar and McKee and thank them for all of their hard work and the players that they've brought into the club so far. Okay, so we've set up Maggie to scout Scotland for 9 months. This is going to be a cracking season. I'm very excited to see what Jagup Maggie can bring us. So we can confirm our first transfer deal that has been made this season is for King. We have sold him to Magdeburg for 250k. And King wasn't able to feature much in our season. He had a great game actually in the last game of the season against St Mirren. We wish King all the very best for the future in his playing career. Let's start off by looking at the objectives for this current season. We have some pretty big things that we need to achieve. Some of these are going to be a real stretch. So the first one, which of course is so exciting that we are now in the Europa League, we have the objective to reach the group stage. Boy oh boy, have they set their targets high, and I'm very concerned about that one. I don't know if we have the depth and the talent yet to get there, but we'll give it a crack. Our next objective is in the Scottish Cup, which is exactly what we did this season. It's just a box ticking exercise, which is fine by me. I'm sure Jonathan will be delighted as well that all we need to do is just show up and we tick a box. And if that's what it takes to get the board to give us more cash, well then, great. And then finally, in the Scottish Premiership, we have to achieve a high finish. I love how vague that is. I guess high finish is top 4, top 5, I don't know. But we're going to aim for 3rd again. If we can improve on then, that'll be a miracle. But 3rd is the position we're looking for this season. Next season, hopefully it can be a game changer and we can really maybe lift that trophy. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We've got a lot of building to do between now and then. Moving across to our youth development, all of these now are critical and new. We have to sign 3 players younger than 20 years of age with a potential greater than the average overall rating of the players currently in the same position. So we have some great potential in some of our players. So we need to make sure that we're signing our absolute best youth players. Long term, within 2 seasons, we have to sign 2 youth players to the senior team, play them in 10 matches either as a start of the 11 or coming in as a sub. That's fine, we can get that done as well. 10 matches is the tricky one. We have to do that early enough to get enough games under their belt. There's only about 30 or 40 games in a season, so we need to make sure that we keep cognizant of that and not let Jonathan down. Apparently have 7 players who we can use in this, so maybe we could start looking at rotating 1 every game for the first 10 games. Brand exposure, we've got to get a streak of 5 games without defeat this season. Tell you what, that's a pretty big ask. That's about as hard as getting to Europa, but we'll give it a shot. Financially connected to our youth academy, short term we've completed that. They've not given us a new one, so the only long term goal we have is to make 4.5 million from our youth players. We've done nothing on that yet. We still have 2 seasons to do that, this season and next season, and already we have some good growth from some of these players. I think if the youth development objective helped us understand, we have 7 players that we could potentially profit from. So let's see how the season plays out, and maybe we can look to capitalize that either in the January transfer or maybe in the beginning of next season. For the domestic success, we've spoken about both of these as primary objectives, and then finally it's just reaching the group stage in the Continental success. Overall, we have quite a lot ahead of us. We've got a very tough season, and now I think Jonathan and I are starting to wonder if we do have enough depth to be able to carry all of this out. No doubt we'll put plenty of thought and energy into this before the season kicks off and the transfer market closes, but where we sit financially is very positive. We potentially could make one more acquisition if we needed to, but we really would like to spend that money on our youth development. Just in quick summary, our transfer budget and wage budget, very healthy. We spent a lot. We've got 1.3 million left, almost half left in all honesty, and we've obviously there's plenty of wiggle room here if we need to budget either way. Likely we'll probably, if we had to make an acquisition of 1.1 million, we'd probably end up spending all that 3k in budget. So maybe one player would take all of that, but we're going to keep as much of this as possible aside to use in the youth development. Just on the topic of youth, just having a quick look at our current youth academy. We've had no players added at the beginning of this season. Obviously McKee was let go, and we've brought in Maggie, so we have quite a lot of potential just sitting here, which actually there's some really promising looking kids here that are going to be amazing when they hit their potentials. So again, this could be our cash money right here. You've seen that we've gone ahead and made sure that they align with our club, changing their positioning if needed. We've got plenty of CAMs and CDMs there, and we've already promoted all of the backs actually, well, quite interestingly, our centre backs and right backs and left backs from last season. So hopefully we'll get them all out on loan, and that's the other thing, is we hope to get every single one of the youths in our team out on loan or rotated into our squad. Looking forward to the season, we now have our fixtures ahead of us. The next episode we'll look at playing St Mirren, Ross County and Livingston. We'll finish August playing Kilmarnock and Aberdeen. Then looking at the new month of September, we've got Rangers, Hibs and Celtic. Boy, that's going to be a cracker. And then we'll probably end up in October playing Hamilton, St Johnstone, Motherwell and Celtic again. Somewhere in here we will find a Europa qualifying game. So we will have to very carefully plan, along with Jonathan, how we approach those games. It's very exciting. The new season is upon us, and Jonathan, as you'll probably agree, has put a lot of effort into preparing the team for this. And so now we look forward to this new season with optimism. We've got good depth in our team. We've got some excellent prospects from a youth perspective, and now it's time to get on with it. So that will wrap up this episode. Thank you for joining me, and until I see you in the next episode, behave.